First recipe is Instant Pot creamy chicken and rice soup. So we're going to start with 3 cups of low sodium chicken broth. Next, we're going to add a half cup of uncooked brown rice, about 2 pounds of chicken breast, these are tenderloins cut into small pieces, 1 onion that's all diced, 3 carrots that are sliced, 3 celery stalks, you can go ahead and just dump those in there, 1.5 cups of corn or just 1 can of corn. Then we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, 1.5 teaspoons of poultry seasoning, a half teaspoon of dried thyme, about 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and then just ground pepper to taste, depending on how much you like. Then go ahead and mix that all together. Now it's time to put on the lid, so make sure that it's sealed tight. You're going to turn that knob to sealing, not venting. You're going to push pressure cook or the manual button, and we're going to set it for 18 minutes. Now when it's all done cooking, you're going to turn that knob to venting to let out all of the pressure. When all the pressure's out, open that lid very carefully and all your food should be nice and cooked. Alright, so now you're going to take in a separate little bowl 3/4 cup of half and half and about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Mix that together and pour that in. Then you're going to pour in about 3/4 cup of frozen peas, or if you don't have frozen, I had to use canned today, which it will work just fine. Then you're going to push the sauté button and you're going to let it thicken up to the texture that you want it to be. The next recipe is our Hawaiian barbecue chicken tacos. So we're going to start with about 1.5 pounds or 3 chicken breasts into the Instant Pot. Next, we're going to add 1 can of pineapple tidbits, 1 cup of barbecue sauce. I like to use sugar-free right now. 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of liquid smoke, about 1/2 of a red onion, 2 tablespoons of diced jalapenos. This is optional if it's too spicy for you. I also added 1 teaspoon of chili powder and 2 cloves of garlic, and then 1 tablespoon of just yellow mustard. That sounds weird, but I'm telling you, it's delicious. Then we need it to pressurize, so 1/2 cup of water. Now you're going to put the lid on, turn that little knob to sealing, not venting. Now because my chicken breasts are kind of small, we're going to cook them for about 12 to 15 minutes. If they're frozen, you cook them for about 22. When it's all done, turn that little knob to venting, open up the lid, and your meal is all done. Now I like to pull out the chicken and shred it all up. Then I like to put it back into the sauce and then mix it really well. You want to make sure you mix that mustard in there. Now we have a delicious coleslaw that goes on top. I'll put a link in the description for you. It's amazing on top of it. Okay, it's time for one of my favorites, Instant Pot Dr. Pepper pulled pork. Alright, so we're going to take a 3-pound pork shoulder roast and put it in there. Then we have some spices. We have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of seasoned salt, and a little bit of black pepper, about 1/2 teaspoon or so. Now you're going to mix that all around. Then you're going to pour a 12-ounce can of Dr. Pepper right on top of it. Then about 1 cup of barbecue sauce. Now I'm going to use some sugar-free barbecue sauce. It's one of my favorites right now. Go ahead and put the lid on. Make sure you press the pressure cook or manual button. And we're going to cook this for about an hour because it's pretty small. And go ahead and turn the knob to sealing so it will pressurize. When it's all done, go ahead and pull it out, shred it up, and put a little barbecue sauce on top. Next up is our Olive Garden copycat recipe of zuppa toscana. So you're going to go ahead and push the sauté button. Then you're going to add a little bit of olive oil when it's hot, and you're going to add an onion. Go ahead and mix that around a little bit until it softens. Then you're going to add 1 pound of Italian sausage. You're going to chop that up and brown it. Now while you're waiting for that to cook, you're going to add 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and 6 cups of chicken broth. Go ahead and just pour that all in. Go ahead and mix that around a little bit. Then we're going to add 3 large russet potatoes that I've chopped. You can leave the skins on, or you can peel them off. It doesn't matter. I'm going to mix it one more time. Maybe add just a little bit of salt and pepper for taste. Then it's time to put the lid on. So you're going to go ahead and put the lid on. Make sure it's on nice and snug. Turn that little knob to sealing, not venting. You're going to push pressure cook or manual button, and you're going to cook it for 15 minutes. When it's all done, go ahead and turn the knob to venting. Let all the pressure out, then you can open up the lid. You're going to add some heavy cream. And now if you don't like heavy cream, I'm using a little bit of sour cream today, and just mix that in all together. Now while it's still hot, you're going to add 2 cups of kale and about 6 slices of bacon. Then mix it all together and you seriously have a delicious dinner ready to go. Next up is our Instant Pot chicken Alfredo penne pasta, and this is one of my favorites. So you're gonna go ahead and push the saute button. Then we're gonna add just a little bit of oil into the pot. Then I'm gonna dump in 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts cut up into small pieces. Now go ahead and let that cook on both sides for a little bit. Then you're gonna add 2 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. Go ahead and dump in 5 cups of low sodium chicken broth. Then you're gonna go ahead and just mix that around. Make sure chicken is covered, everything's covered. Then we're going to pour in 12 ounces of penne pasta. Now my chicken is not cooked all the way through, but it's almost there. And then I wanna make sure that every noodle is covered with a liquid, because if it's not, it's going to burn. So if you need to add more liquid, go ahead and do it. All right, our lid is on. Our little knob is turned to sealing, not venting. We're pushing the pressure cooker manual button, and then we're cooking for only 4 minutes. When it's done, go ahead and turn the knob to venting, let all the pressure out. When all the pressure's out, go ahead and lift it up and then mix it around. Now we're gonna push the saute button. You're gonna add 8 ounces of cream cheese, about 1 cup of mozzarella cheese, a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and go ahead and just mix that all together until a lot of the cheese has started to melt. Now in a small bowl, I mixed 1 tablespoon of water and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and I mixed it in with the cheese in there too. Now go ahead and push the saute button to get all that extra liquid out so it can be the texture that you want it to be.